And I'll
And
mute your
welcome.
video.
Okay, yeah, whatever you're gonna do. Everyone, welcome and thank you for coming. I have with me Tony's Coffee House. Tony,
Hello.
welcome. Um, so there's two channels, or one channel, or two channels, whatever you want to call it. Uncommon Ground is I don't know what you'd call it, a series of videos that Wes Blaze Music is doing, and I think they're awesome. So this is not a video to bash on anybody or anything, but this is a video to discuss some of the things that they went over in their video. And there's, I have a hard time even describing. There's a lot of things happening that these guys and the other channel is Kingdom in Context. They're both in the description. Let me see here. Hold on a minute. Do I have this? Oh, you know what?
What are you looking for, Joe? I
Sorry
got
about
the
that.
video up too. Do you want me to copy the link?
Hey, if you want to, there's two links in the description of the video: Wes Blaze Music channel and then Kingdom in Context channel. And I would subscribe to both those channels. They're good channels. Um, oh, you know what? You guys can see my
Here,
screen
I'll put
there.
the link for that video right here in chat for you.
Okay, okay. So here's how I want to do this, and this might be a long video. It's not to rip on anybody, but it is to talk about some things that I feel are very important, and they're things that aren't revealed by me or Tony. They're things that are revealed in the Word of God, and some of these things, people can have a different opinion or a different interpretation or a different idea about what something's talking about or what it means. But some of these are not even something that I question. And actually, Tony, you are ready to talk about the temple of God, aren't you? I think you
Uh,
are, anyway.
well, yeah,
A little bit. I just that'll come up. That'll come up in this. So
for
what I'm
sure,
gonna do is
for
I'm
sure.
gonna
Well,
go to
you
their
asked
video.
me. Yeah, let
Oh,
me
go ahead.
just. Um, you asked me to watch that, and I watched it in like double speed because I knew it was a 2 hour video.
Yeah.
So they were talking really fast.
Yep. And that we'll skip through some of the parts
But
because
I
um
slowed it down during like the 14.5 minute mark was my
okay.
first notes. That's when they started bringing up the Bible. They brought
Yeah,
up
somehow
Genesis
I somehow I
120.
wrote. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just play this video. We'll let their intro go and everything so everyone can kind of see what their channel's about because this is an awesome what do you call it, series or whatever that these guys are doing. They're going out to pastors and churches. They're going out to parks. They're going out anywhere, and they're bringing up and questioning people and talking to people about biblical cosmology. And if you know me, you know that I believe that's the most important thing that someone that does see this can be doing today. An example is I left a comment on Jeranism's channel about it was about Jesus returning or Jesus saving us, and he kind of was thinking, that um, that there that Jesus is not necessary, kind of. And I don't want to put words in Jared's mouth, but um, well, you know what? I probably shouldn't have brought that up even. But anyway,
Well, honestly,
yeah.
you're reading off of some of my notes about what they said.
Okay, okay. Well,
Um,
I'm gonna play
but
the
I'm
intro
not
and
going to get into. I'm not here. I'm not going to bash your friends. Honestly, I got to tell you, I've never watched one of their videos before this.
okay. I bet you will
So
after this because you'll be like, wow, these guys are my kind of guys. They're good guys. Like I love these guys. Um, and
they they never mentioned Jesus. They mentioned Son of God, but they were more into the sacred name. That's okay. I'm good with
yeah, that
that.
isn't even a topic
Yeah,
of
that's a
discussion for
whole
me because
other.
nobody
Yeah,
knows his name but he
right.
himself, and
So
that's what the Bible
they're
says.
kind
That's what
of
he said.
yeah, they're kind of treading in that camp, and that's okay. That's whatever. You're learning.
I don't
Go
call it
ahead.
camp. Let's talk about their video. So we're gonna what
Good.
we're gonna do is I'm gonna leave it not full screen so you guys can see what's going on your video, just because that might be important. Also, so I did the live chat replay, and I'm just gonna listen to their intro, and right off the bat, we'll start talking about this. And sorry to cut you off there, Tony. I just figured we'd better get started. Otherwise, because this might take me a while, or us a while, I should say.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so let's do this. They actually have a cool intro too.
I just realized watching them, and then I realized you're a lot younger than me, and so are they, man. I'm a Gen Xer. You guys are like younger than me by a little while, right? I'm almost 50.
Okay, I'm
49.
3. I'm 40, so.
Yeah, but they gotta be
Here,
younger than
I think Wes, I can't remember how old Wes is, but I think Sean is maybe 41 or 40, 39, 40, somewhere in there. But you know what? I know that the people that are inspired to speak the truth in this time we live in range all over ages. Oh no, Eric Lion says my audio is choppy and bad. I can't stand StreamYard. Can you hear me okay, Tony?
It just cleared up. It was choppy for a minute.
Yeah, and it ruined the last video I did with Tom Morgan. If it does this again, I'm going to have to do this with not StreamYard, because I'm never going to use it again if it does this again.
I use OBS.
Not with a guest.
OBS without a guest, you would need Zoom.
Maybe.
I did
yeah.
Zoom. Zoom was fine.
I've done Zoom before, but tell me this: if you guys in the chat, if my voice starts getting choppy or whatever, can you let me know in the chat? Because that really is to me, to waste 2 hours, and I shouldn't say waste, but to spend 2 hours trying to discuss something that I feel is very important, and then just to have the recording not and nobody be able to hear what I'm saying, it's quite frustrating. But I'll let these guys finish the intro. Wes has got a cool song right here at the beginning, so it's kind of cool.
You're muted.
Oh, you know what? Can you guys hear the music and the video?
No music.
Oh, you're kidding me.
You want me to do it? No.
Well, no, I just I know what's going on. I can't even do. You know what I have to do? Hold on a minute. I have to do this different. We can't watch my desktop because I can't. I remember I can't get sound out of there. But I have an idea here. Video file.
Yeah, you like OBS a lot better.
I use OBS every time I stream.
Oh.
But you can't. I don't know how to do it with a guest.
Yeah, just do Zoom on a totally another thing. Share your screen. That's it.
And yeah, and I'm pretty sure that
through your speakers.
It's not that simple. What I have to do right now is I'm downloading their video to put into StreamYard, so that we can actually watch it.
Oh, do you ever use shortcut editing?
Okay, can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, we'll let this play for a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies and citizens, this joy to the world. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies and citizens, this joy to the world. I bring a message of the truth amidst a world full of lies. I graduated from learning lies to seeking truth. Indoctrinated to be too blind to see the proof. I once was lost, but now I'm found. So shine light And everywhere I go is darkness, so I shine bright.
Therefore, my request is fulfilled in your presence. To whom can I cry so that he would grant my request? And as for the sons of the humans, what more can their strength do? My trust, O Yahweh, is before you. I cried, O Yahweh, and he answered me, and he healed the brokenness of my heart. I slumbered and slept. I dreamed, and indeed I awoke. You supported me, O Yahweh, and I called up Yahweh, my deliverer. Now I will behold their shame. I have trusted in you, and I will not be ashamed. Render glory forever and ever. Redeem Israel, O Yahweh, your elect one, and the house of Jacob, your chosen one. I am West Blaze, and you are watching Uncommon Ground, and this is episode 11, Satellites and Sateloons. And we are coming to you live and direct from the show that presents to you the true nature of creation and how each individual aspect relates to God's overall plan of salvation for mankind, right? But the unfortunate reality is sometimes we have to expose some lies and deception being played out on believers and non-believers alike. And tonight, it is my pleasure to do so with my compadre from the same heavenly padre, Mr. Sean G. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing great. It's going to be a fun episode, West Blaze, and I'm excited to dig into it.
Action-packed. You know, I looked at tonight's episode kind of like a day in class where the teacher just rolls in the TV because we got so many clips. We got a lot to present and to go over, but we're going to look at some footage of lots of cool stuff. I wanted to make this episode like a all-star compilation, conglomeration of all the, information that's out there regarding this deception and the truth of the nature of these things. What are satellites? Are they even what they say they are? Are they real at all? We get a lot of different claims tossed around. We hear a lot of indoctrination. And tonight we're just going to hope to expose it all so that you get a clear picture of what's really going on.
All right. So you guys can see what kind of show this is. It's a good show. They're talking about things that I believe are very important. And what I want to do is I'm not trying to be like argumentative. What I want to do, this would be my wish come true, is if Sean and Wes see this, excuse me, they watch this, which I hope they do, or at least part of it, that they can ask God to show them the possibility that they are misunderstood about a few things. And it's not like they're wrong, and I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I'm saying that the Bible is describing something to me, and we're going to go over it. And I know, Tony, you've grasped some of these concepts that are new to me, and they're new to Tony, and they're new to everyone because we just haven't thought about it before. And it seems to be something that's very important, I think. Quite a few of these topics concerning what's going on in the sky, too, with satellites. You got something to say, Tony?
Oh, yeah. How you doing? 1 minute. Ephesians. Well, anyway, I did like their show. I thought it was cool. I was watching the chat even. I saw when you showed up, and I saw that moderator saying, "Watch yourself, Joe."
Oh yeah, when I said I was riding my motorcycle.
Yeah.
I was listening to
Right.
I had an hour and a half motorcycle ride, so I was listening to the show while I was riding.
While
That
you
was
were
awesome.
riding your bike, you're sitting there
Yeah.
riding your bike. Yeah. So yeah, I heard that. I thought it was a good show. I really, I don't have any major criticisms about their teachings, except for they're saying that the firmament is just a hard place that you can't
Yeah.
get through.
Do you see that model
that?
Do you see the model that Sean has on?
The 7 layers of the firmament.
Yeah.
And all that.
Do you know something missing from that model right, just by looking at it, glancing at it? Do you notice something
there's
missing?
no ocean.
Like
Where's
waters
the
above?
one? Where are the waters?
The dark waters.
Yeah,
Darkness.
where are the waters that's mentioned in Genesis where they was going?
Darkness. Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
asked me the only scriptures they mentioned was Genesis 1:20, 1:6 through 8, John 3:12, Amos, and then they was razzing on somebody about Enoch at 15-minute mark, right?
Okay, we'll get to there. I got a couple
But
before that,
but then
but
they use this Barak book, and
uh,
but that they don't like
Baruch.
the Enoch. Yeah, but why use Baruch if you don't like Enoch? Because
I don't think you
neither of them.
understood them right. These guys love Enoch, the Book of Enoch. So
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think you. I think maybe you must have misheard it or something.
Well, yeah, maybe we can re-listen to it when we get
Well,
to the
let's.
15-minute mark. I'll let
Yeah,
you
we
catch up
will.
on your
We will.
notes.
Let me just say this. What I want to do here is not talk about their show. I want to talk about specific subject matter. And so what we'll do is, for time's sake, this would take forever if we were trying to go through the whole thing. And I'm not trying to criticize or I mean, critique their whole video. There was just when I was watching it, and I did watch it I watched it twice because I do a lot of driving, and I basically listened to it twice. And there's some things in here that are just being assumed by these guys. They're assuming things, and they've went from believing that what the world believed, and then I like what Wes Blaze says in the video. He used to believe like in the solar system, but he doesn't anymore. And so there's a change made. They don't believe in a solar system anymore. They believe in a flat Earth with a firmament and heaven above, and just like the Bible describes. So that's awesome. I love that. But what about some of the things that are in the Bible that they aren't putting into their idea of their model or whatever? And it's going to surprise them. Hey, Tom Morgan's in the chat. More than a flame. How you doing? And Brandana, Tom Morgan, Davey 313, grateful and humbled. Eric Dulan, and I'm gonna miss people. I know that. Captain Caveman and Paul Levi. Good to see you guys. And Tony's Coffee House. Wow, I didn't think he'd make it up. God's watching this flat Earth. Good to see you. And we gotta be close to the top there. I think I said hi to everyone. Nimrod Paul, hello. Good to see you. And I'm going all the way to the top because, or at least as far as I can. And StreamYard, welcome StreamYard. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so this one here, whoops, wrong one. More Than a Flame says Enoch contradicts the Bible multiple times. And just so you know, Joel, I got your email, and I'm 36 minutes into that video, and I'll kind of let you know in the email what I think about some of those things. I think it's a very dangerous road that guy that made that video is walking on. That's my opinion, but that's another subject. We probably might get into some of that.
All right,
Go
so
ahead.
Genesis, I want to talk about the firmament and the oceans above. Because the way I understand it, and I think you understand it the same way, is that there's some kind of dark waters above.
Darkness, simple. It's the absence of light.
Yeah, but is that like the ocean, or like
No,
it's
it's like a
just
vacuum. It's like a
okay?
vacuum. There's no physical qualities to it. There's no
Okay, so
temperature there.
where
Well, I
do
suppose
you?
there's if you put a person there, or you put say a space station there, then there's going to be some kind of physics involved. But that's only there because they're doing exactly what the Tower of Babel people did. They're doing exactly what Lucifer says in his heart that he's going to do. So, but let me go in this video. Sorry if I'm turning my
No,
head. So
it's all right. But I was thinking I wanted to talk more about those dark waters. I believe
we will.
that can be like a spiritual place.
Yeah,
Because
it's nothing like the Earth.
Because
There's no physics.
when I talk to people that are into, say, I guess quotation marks in the air, spiritualism stuff like astral projection, it always involves outer space.
Yeah, the solar system. Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
We're gonna go now. This might be difficult because I don't even know how to do this. I'm gonna try to skip to. Oh boy, this will be nearly impossible for me to get to the right parts. Okay, this should be one of the first topics. I'm just gonna hit play for a minute and we'll figure out what I wrote the timestamp for.
Where is those satellites?
Okay.
And then
Okay, so I'm gonna go back just a. Oh boy, this is gonna be hard if I try to do this. Okay, I guess I can't. Ah, StreamYard is not the most easy thing here. Sorry, guys. Okay, there. Okay, now listen what Sean says, and then we're gonna do a little investigation and not be ignorant of the truth here. So,
Where is those satellites?
and then maybe a song started coming in your head, right?
That's right. That's right.
So I want to shout out real quick to Mikey Jenny. He made something I think in 2017, and it gave me the idea to make the teaser for this episode. So check this out.
Thousand satellites around Earth. Only about 40% are operational.
What they at, do? 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 What they at? What they at? What they at? What they at?
gotta love West Blaze music. That's pretty good. And you know what? I get it. It's funny. I laugh. I think it's great. But let's talk about truth. In May of 2019. Now, I'm going to be addressing Sean and Wes Blaze here. You guys, I can tell you both right now that I know that you have not looked for satellites in the sky for 2 years. You have not, and you know you have not. Now that's going to be a subject that comes up through this whole video, because they keep saying throughout this video, people claim to see these things, but you can't ever see them, or whatever. And I'm going, man, you've never been to my channel. You've never been to Mel Gig's channel. We're gonna go look at some things. It's not even in this video later on. There's a guy named Mike Maranatha, and he even says, well, I've seen him up there. And they're talking about them being balloons, and there's a lot of misunderstood things about orbits and what is actually space. Space isn't an altitude or an elevation. You don't go up and then all of a sudden you reach space. You don't go up into the air and then suddenly you're in space. You have to go sideways to get to space. There's no such thing as space unless you're moving parallel with the surface of the Earth.
You have to catch up to the moving. That's what I was getting at with the waters, the ocean. What if
Yeah.
it's got currents, the sky with the pillars and the winds? I don't know. With that hardened surface, how come we don't see four big pillars at each point?
Because
It
they're
seems-
hold on. The pillars of the Earth. What are they? Enoch tells us what they are.
Yeah, we know what they are. That they're the winds, even without Enoch.
Yeah, they're
but
the winds. They're the winds. Yeah, the four winds.
For sure. So the four winds. I was just kind of, trying to imagine what it would be like if there was a really hard dome with these four big pillars, and it would look like a footstool up there.
Well, there is some
Wouldn't we
scriptures that
see those? Wouldn't we see those physical pillars?
nope, we wouldn't. But Ezra saw them. Ezra saw a city. He was shown a city, and it was New Jerusalem had come down. Like he was shown a vision of it, And the angel even told me, he said, go in and check out the buildings as long as your eyes can see it. Like this is something you won't be able to see again. And he said that he saw a wonderful city with huge foundations. That's what he said. But yeah, I think that's all celestial, and it's something that possibly our eyes don't see.
So
Yeah.
try plugging in your mic a little bit more, because it is sounding shaky. Maybe it's not plugged in. But yeah, I mean, I think of the foundations of the firmament as winds, right? So it's kind of separating the material and the spiritual world. But it's a vast ocean where the sun, moon, and stars are. Are you unplugging your mic, plugging it back in? So he's just checking it on his sound. Maybe his microphone's just unplugged a little bit. Hopefully he can get it back easy enough. I'm not playing any sound off of my computer, so I can't play the video, but I have it playing on my background, and they're talking about Amos. I'm just filling in the dead air. So I don't know. There's oceans above, right? There's oceans above the firmament. The firmament is the light, moon, and stars. And then
Can you hear me?
There you are. Thank you. You're back.
Yeah, if it does it one more time, I'm just gonna end the stream because I'm not the last. If you go to the last stream I did with Tom Morgan, I'm not doing another stream like that. That was just what I'd have to do is record a video or something, because that was just it ruined the video, and I don't know why that happens with StreamYard. I have a good internet. I have like really strong internet. Brand new mic, brand new laptop, brand new everything. Shouldn't be doing it.
Okay. Weird.
So here's what we need to do. We need to. Yeah, this is just hard to do. You know what I should have done? Now that I'm thinking about this, I should have done this without a guest. I'm not saying I don't want you here, Tony, because I do. I want your thoughts here. But we'll keep going and see what happens. So I'm gonna switch to. Let me figure this out. Okay, if I go like that. Okay, you're seeing. Okay,
it
good.
Because of the StreamYard? Would it be better if I just left and let you do it?
No, it's StreamYard. Yeah, I'd have to start a new stream anyway if that was the case. I'd rather have you here.
It sounds like it's still gonna give you trouble. I can hear it just in the faint. It sounds like it might do that, and I don't want you getting frustrated. I don't want the devil and that darkness.
No, I'm not worried about that.
Can we just talk about one thing about that? Who are we fighting against? Who is the enemy? Can we get to the point of who is our enemy?
People like that. It's a hard topic. People don't believe what Paul said. These guys, Sean and Wes, I'm sure they believe what Paul says, but they don't hear him. They're not listening to what Paul says to the Ephesians. And I know these guys have talked about this. We don't struggle against flesh and blood. NASA's not a bunch of people lying to you about the shape of the world. That's not reality. Reality is that there's devils, fallen angels, that reside in the sky in a place of darkness, and they're deceiving and drawing to themselves the hearts of men. Let's go to Mars. There's another world out there for us. This whole idea comes from them. That is what we're struggling against, the rulers of the darkness. I hope I'm not cutting out, Tony. I probably am, though.
It sounded good now. I just wanted to make sure that we got to the real point. I think that probably concerns you the most is, who is our real enemy? I mean, is it... Okay, Paul, I don't know, you can't see my screen, but when they're talking about all these satellites, right?
Yeah.
And they're saying, oh, where are they? And they're pretty much just dismissing looking up at the skies.
Yeah, and that's
what's going on.
That's what I was saying. I was addressing Sean and Wes, and that's probably when it started cutting out or something, maybe. here's the thing. If you're gonna say that there's no satellites or whatever they're saying, where they at though? It just shows like it exposes your lack of observation, guys. It exposes to me that you are not looking up at the sky. You're not paying attention to what's going on up there. SpaceX has launched 1,800 satellites since May of 2019. The sky has changed drastically.
Oh, can I bring something up that a lot
Yeah.
of people get wrong? A lot of people are getting this wrong.
What?
I don't think that we understand where the SpaceX is putting those. I just have
Good
a
call.
Forbes article up right now, and I'm looking at it. It's in very low Earth orbit. It's
Well,
not
they
just in
change.
low Earth orbit, but yeah,
They climb. After when they're launched, they're really low. They're below the
yeah,
space station.
and so they kind of drift.
They actually have thrusters on them, and they raise their own orbit.
Okay, that's my
so-
point that I want to bring up. Do you know what kind of fuel they use in those?
Oh, I don't. I don't remember what it's called.
It's called like Kryptonian something fuel.
I just know they're called CRS thrusters. They're like
Right.
whatever kind of gas is it? I don't know what kind of gas it is that they shoot out, but
Yeah, so they're launching something up there. They're
oh,
making-
certainly. You know what? Here's what I'll say. Just like we were saying about Ephesians, when Paul said we don't struggle against flesh and blood, take that. I want everyone that hears my voice to take that way more seriously than you think you should. There is not a man in this world that is deceiving you that knows something that you don't know, like about creation or whatever. Here's what I do know. I do know that anybody that wants to, and actually we'll be looking at the ISS too. Later on in the video, Sean said, I don't know how to get that. Enoch contradicts the Bible multiple times off the screen. There we go. Sorry about that.
Right, I've seen that. I'm like, okay.
That's a horrible stance to take. I love you, Joel, but there's a lot of things in the Book of Enoch that you might not be aware of. How's that? Like when Enoch says that the sevenfold doctrine of the whole creation will be shown in the last week at the end. Or like that the Lord's going to transform the earth and make it a blessing and cause his elect to dwell there. Or the whole order of the stars will be concealed from the sinners. All of these things that we're seeing in our world right now, Enoch already told us about them. And Enoch actually, most of the, like a lot of the stuff that Paul wrote and a lot of the stuff in the New Testament is taken from the book of Enoch. Like the idea, like the whole book of Jude and First and Second Peter.
For sure.
They're right out of Enoch. The whole idea, the whole subject that they're talking about.
There's so much shaming about reading, and how I talked to my friend and my cousin, and he said he's afraid to even pray because people are so judgmental. Like maybe I'm praying wrong. I felt so bad.
Oh yeah, you know what I want? I wanted to say this to you. I could tell how frustrated you were on your stream today, or not frustrated. I'll say you were kind of like saying, "All right, I'm just gonna say what needs to be said," or whatever. Like, you're venting, or whatever you want to call it. When you were talking about getting angry or frustrated, I wanted to like pop. I was driving, so I couldn't really do anything, but I wanted to pop in there and just say that it was Marty Leeds that taught me something about Stephen. Stephen is a good example of how we should all be, especially when we see the truth. When Stephen was being stoned, what did he say?
Father, forgive them, for they don't know not what they do.
Yeah, Stephen had compassion on them while they were killing him. And it was the same thing that Jesus did when he saw lost sheep that didn't have a shepherd, he had compassion on them. And you know what I've learned is that, I'm not saying I'm some example, but I've learned that when I disagree with someone strongly, or when someone, tries to do something to get me angry or frustrated, there's a reward that comes with having compassion on them. Because all you have to do is, especially if you see the truth, you have to just consider what situation they're in, and the situation you're in, you might have a point of view that they might not have, and so it might be easy for them to attack you, or to all the things that you were talking about. You know what I mean? Just my thoughts. I just wanted to go
Sure,
in there.
yeah, that's a great point of view, and
The
that's
anger
great,
disappears
good
when,
advice. Yeah,
and I'm just learning this myself. And in like to get angry is to waste time. So, and even probably more worse than that. You know what I mean?
it's dark thoughts. It's letting that darkness living in the carnal mind instead of living in what the fruits of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and
In
I think
love.
I think like one term that phrase that I always use is just let it bounce right off, or let it slide right off. Like if something comes and hits you in the head, just pretend it didn't, and just keep going. And I'm not really concerned with what people think about me, because I'm not really too much of a factor in any of this. I'm only just a person that's sharing my point of view, and it's because my point of view is something I'm learning from the scripture. You know what I mean? It's a lot of
Yeah,
these things are brand new to me. Like space being Sheol. That's brand new to me. I didn't make that up.
right.
There's a
Well,
lot of scriptures that say that.
right. For
Go ahead,
sure,
Tony.
and the fire coming down at the end of the judgment. I mean, we have to understand that when the flood came in, it came from that firmament, the oceans above. I believe that there has to be oceans somewhere out there because
Yes,
of
the
the
great
separation of
seas,
the
or
water.
here's what it is. There's the earth, and wherever the earth is, there's air. And then there's a
And there's
place,
moisture in the air. I understand that with the
but I'm
clouds.
just saying the air itself. If there's not air, you're not on the earth. You're not in or on the earth if there's no air. That's the way Enoch described it, and
Okay.
it makes a lot of sense, because what do they do in order to go to space? They have to go up above the air. They go up above the Kármán line, and then they start going sideways. And I think maybe the sides of the north might have something to do with it. Exactly what Lucifer said he was going to do. Set his congregation in the sides of the north. This is hell. And men are believing that. So here's why NASA's not lying to you. NASA's not trying. There's nobody, no human being, no flesh and blood at NASA that's telling you, yeah, I know that the Earth is flat, but we're pushing this big deception. There's nobody pushing a big deception except devils in the sky, and they're deceiving men. It's not the other way around. It's not men deceiving men. It's evil angels in the firmament that are actually deceiving men.
Right. According to the
So
way
why?
we understand scriptures.
Yeah. So if we talk about satellites, well, there's a few scriptures that talk about satellites. And the one that stands out to me big time is Ezekiel 7 and 8 and 9 and 12, or 11 and 12. That is they're abominations and detestable things. Tony, if I was to ask you, where's New Jerusalem?
New Jerusalem, well, it isn't here yet. That's a new heaven and new earth time era, right?
But where
So
is it?
it's in the sky. It's
Yeah.
up
It
in,
hasn't come
up
down
in
from
heaven. Yeah,
heaven yet, right?
hasn't come down. We'll know with that big crash and boom from when the dome breaks. That top upmost part of the dome,
Yep.
that one that they like to say is the only part of the firmament. I mean, how are the
Well,
sun, moon, and stars?
these guys say
How
that
are
there's 7 firmaments. That's what
Okay, the
these guys
way
say.
I can't grasp the hard firmament is this. The Bible says that there's the sun, moon, and stars in the firmament.
Yep. It's a
So
place of darkness.
how are the sun, moon, and stars in a hardened, domed
They're
firmament
not.
with like
They're not.
glass? I don't
If
understand that.
they're not, you're listening to Rob Skiba or
Oh, I
you're
don't like listening
no.
to him.
Okay, I shouldn't have said his name. You're listening to people, Tony. Think about this.
No, that's what they
What does the
claim.
scriptures say? What does the scriptures say about New Jerusalem or about like any of these topics? The scriptures are very clear about them. And I forgot what we were just talking about specifically. Sorry.
No,
Uh,
you're fine. You're fine. I wanted
I
you to explain that because I know it's a passion. So
okay,
in
because
Genesis,
yeah,
how are the sun, moon, and stars? And if they say it's a hardened firmament, I'm not saying that I believe that. I'm just trying to picture what the way they see it. I mean, how do
well,
they imagine the sun, moon, and stars in the firmament as described in Genesis?
they think that they're in like they're in the third heaven or fourth heaven or fifth heaven. They're trying to get real specific, and I'm not against that, but here's what I would say: if the sun, moon, and stars were put there for signs, seasons, days, and years, and to give light upon the earth, what would the firmament be without any lights?
Darkness.
It'd be darkness. And so there's a layer of darkness upon the face of the deep. So part of biblical cosmology is a place of darkness in the sky. Okay? And that's also happens to be reality too.
That's throughout the Bible. I see it all the
The firmament is space. That's what it
time.
is.
Right.
And it is a place. It's a place, but it's not a physical place. It's a place where angels and stars are imprisoned. I mean, not all of them, but the planets, the 7 planets, those are evil spirits. That's what I mean. Wandering stars, they didn't obey God when He gave them an ordained specific course to go on. There was all the stars, and God ordained them to go on their courses, and 7 of them said nah, and they didn't show up at their appointed time.
So 7.
That's what
7
we
of
see in
the
this.
angels. Isn't that like the planets or something?
Yeah, that's what we see in the sky. We see the. I wish I. This is what the other thing I don't like about streaming. I can't really do any graphics stuff to. I think I can here. I'll just see if I can anyway. All the stars in the sky, they do a circle around Polaris, and a lot of people know this. But I want to explain something that's very important. Enoch described exactly what was happening in the sky, and he just where is that? Okay, here it is. I guess should show up hopefully on the screen in a minute. Should please do. Okay, good. I think that's on there. Can you see star trails?
I'm seeing on. Wait, let me refresh. Yeah.
Okay, good. So these star trails, there's that star in the middle, and all the stars in the sky, all the way down to the southern hemisphere, do this circle around that star. Or you could say they do a circle around the southern point of axis. Either way, north or south, they're all doing a circle around basically Polaris, and it just continues on. And the only ones that aren't are the planets. So when Enoch says that there was 7 that didn't obey God on their ordained courses, and there's chapters like 71 describes this star right here being a house that has a throne in it where God is.
Yeah,
And
doesn't Ezekiel talk about that? And he describes the North Star almost.
I'm not sure, maybe.
Ezekiel kind of described that and described it as like a rainbow around it.
Oh, I think maybe you're thinking of John or Revelation chapter 4 or 5. I think it says like a sardine stone or a jasper with emerald, or yeah, emerald, rainbow emerald, or something like that, surrounding it, or something like that. Which is interesting because that's the exact colors that the star are. That star is. It's like green, red, white, and green. But let's see here. So here's what we're gonna do, though.
Yeah, Ezekiel 1:26-27, above the firmament, likeness of the throne,
Yep.
appearance of sapphire stone. It's also in Revelation.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was in Ezekiel. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, it went into somebody else was doing. I got that Word document open, so we've talked about these scriptures before, like Ezekiel 10. I've been copying and pasting a lot of these scriptures, so I've got like a few pages. Yeah, that's why I wanted to do this, is because we talk about them and we can't remember all the scriptures that we talk about.
There's a lot of them.
We only have so much RAM in our capabilities to remember things at one time. You know, we only have so much processing power. Our minds are like computers.
So here's what I'm going to do.
Go ahead.
I'm going to try to go to the next time step. We'll see how this works. Oops, it's not going to work. Wow, this is so difficult. Sorry, guys, for the lack of... let's see here. What do I do? Oh, I got to click on here, and it's probably going to go to a different...
and I began to speak in the presence of the mighty.
Okay, how about if we show that on the screen? What do we do to do that? Is that... Yeah, that might be it. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's try... I think it's before this, and... Oh, this doesn't... It goes from 13 minutes, and then the next one I can do is 11 minutes and 39 seconds. Because the box is so small. I'm trying to figure out... I guess we're just going to have to listen to a little bit of it. Like 2 minutes?
About 5. I'd go... See, I have just after what you're talking about that I want... Because that's when they brought up the scripture.
Let there be
Whoops. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I can't get the... Okay, let's just see what they say here.
Let there be an expanse between the waters. Many versions say firmament. The word there is rakia in the Hebrew.
Okay, listen to what it says here. He's not right.
And he says to separate the waters from the waters. So it's solid, separating waters. So God made the expanse and separated the waters beneath it from the waters above. And it was so. God called the expanse, or the firmament, sky, which would say heaven in other translations, Shemaim. And there was evening and there was morning the second day. So this was the second day. God creates this. What in the Hebrew, if you look at the definitions of the word for rakia, it is a solid, vaulted, domed structure.
That's right.
Okay, that's not true at all, Wes. We can go look at that. I better. Actually, I have it right here. Let me just read off my other laptop here. Strong's 7554 Raka. Let me go to that last one I was at. That's not the word he was talking about. The word that is in there is Rakia, Rakia, and it says an extended surface, expanse. And then Strong's exhaustive concordance says firmament, properly an expanse, the firmament, or apparently visible arch of the sky. Okay. When you look at the Hebrew word raka, where it comes from, that implies more of the solid part. It says to beat, stamp, beat out, spread out. And Strong's exhaustive says beat, make broad, spread abroad, forth, over, out, into plates, stamp, stretch, to pound the earth as a sign of passion, by analogy to expand by hammering, by implication to overlay with thin sheets of metal. I think that's where they're getting the idea that it's a structure, but it does not say that it's a structure because it isn't a structure. It's the four winds are holding up the next realm. Good point, Thomas. How do rocks fall through it with a huge bang? We have learned And now this is where I want to address Wes and Sean right here. And I was talking to you about the satellites, and you haven't clearly haven't been looking at the sky, yet you're telling people that there aren't these lights in the sky, or you're kind of saying there are, but they're not. Here's all you have to know: that we're not struggling against flesh and blood, and that's going to change your whole understanding about this deception. There's no elite deceiving the world. There's nobody hiding the shape of the earth. Not a human being. There's only human beings that are believing that lie. And then there's now, since Jesus sent his Spirit of truth to guide us into the truth, we have a lot of people in this world that don't believe that lie. But what I want to prevent is you guys continuing in another lie. So another lie that we can prove just by looking up at the sky. That's a very important thing. Make observations. There's let me go. Okay, that was the next one, but I'm not trying to over talk you too much, Tony, but I think yours was the next one. That was at 13 minutes. Yours was at like 15 minutes. Should I just let it play?
It's your show, honestly. I'm here as your guest. I'm at 14 minutes and 30 seconds, but I've kind of already talked about that point about Genesis and the firmament and the ocean, but I'll go back over it again.
Okay, here we go. We got 14 minutes and 15 seconds. That was the closest I could get.
That means it's
I was there, yeah.
And now it says it has a height to it, and that height has been made firm as well.
Yes, it
No,
has.
Sean. It has not been made firm, you guys. Here's why it's
They
hard.
even say that they assume this in the scripture.
Well, here's the thing. What, in reality, what happens when you move something in a place with no physics, a place where we shouldn't be, a place of darkness where Satan and his angels are fighting with each other, and a place where they're fighting Michael and his angels? We shouldn't be there, but what happens if you take something, let's just use a physical example that we get in reality. I've experienced one myself. A meteor and a sonic boom. Do you guys understand what's happening there? What is going on when something comes into the sky and it's falling down to the earth? Why does it burn up? Why does it start on fire and disintegrate and disappear? If it depending on what material it's made of. Why is there meteorites instead of a big old meteor? Because it gets wasted away, because once you enter the air, that basically you're hitting a brick wall when you go from no atmosphere to atmosphere. They call it re-entry for space vehicles, which unfortunately I don't think people are going to believe any of this because of what Daniel and John already saw. They saw the saints being prevailed against and overcome by the dragon. And Wes Blaze, even in the video here in a little while, he says something about we are supposed to know the devil's devices and not be ignorant of scriptures. And so that's really why I'm doing this video. We don't want to be ignorant of scriptures. So an idea for satellites is Ezekiel 7. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go here on my computer and just read it so you guys can go there and read with me. But if I try to get the screen there and everything, I'll just lose my place on the video. So I'll just read it. There, God is clear with Ezekiel, and he tells him what's going. Whoops. Oh, I had Ezekiel 7, and then the Ezekiel part disappeared. Exactly, Thomas Morgan. The problem is Wes says we're supposed to be aware of the devil's devices, and Wes and Sean are here telling you that they don't exist. That's sad. They're telling you that they're fake. They're telling you that they're being faked by men. The devil's devices. Okay, they're not being faked. They're real. Let's see here. Let me go to this. just a couple verses in Ezekiel, and I brought these up to Sean one time recently, and he kind of gave the idea that, oh, that was Ezekiel in his time, and that's not talking about now. And I'm afraid it is talking about now. Let's just read this. Ezekiel 7, verse 20. Verse 20. As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty, but they made images of their abominations and their detestable things therein. Therefore have I set it far from them, and I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall pollute it. My face will I turn also from them, and they shall pollute my secret place, for the robber shall enter into it and defile it. Okay, that's not today. That's not talking about some temple on the ground or anything like that. It's talking about the temple in the sky. The same holy city that the son of perdition is going to send in, up in the sky. This is all about the temple of God, which is in the sky. That's why I asked you, Tony, what New Jerusalem was.
Okay, right. Well, I'm learning. I'm still learning. And
well, the reason why I think
want to read Ezekiel a little bit more, because there's a lot in there about the firmament.
Yeah, there is. There's tons about the firmament in there. There's also in Ezekiel. It also says that people would be saying, "Oh no, these visions are for a time yet to come." Like people say, "No, those aren't happening now. That's for a time in the future." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right now. These guys are talking about alien deception and all this stuff." And I'm like, the deception's already happened.
Right. The deception's already happened. That the grand delusion is the globe. If you believe in the globe, you've been deceived. That's the remnants being woken up to the truth of where we live.
And it's actually the gospel of the kingdom being preached.
Because we're teaching that the kingdom of heaven is going to come down here to earth. The sky is going to fall.
That's the kingdom that's going to come. That it is already. When God said that he will take you from among the heathen and place you in your own land. There's a reason why he said that. There's a reason why there's a promised land. And it happens to be flat.
What is that scripture when he'll make the valleys level?
Isaiah 40 verses 3 through 5. And then also Luke 3 verses 4 through 6. Those are kind of the same. That's John the Baptist quoting Isaiah in Luke. So these satellites, this is also the same. The next chapter, Ezekiel's taken up to heaven, or up between heaven and earth to the temple of God in Jerusalem, to vision of God in Jerusalem. And this is clearly New Jerusalem because it's up in the sky. And he sees people worshiping the sun up there, and and God calls it an abomination what they're doing here. Heliocentrism. Think about it. You think you circle around the sun, although you don't observe that. You observe the sun go. You see that people can't, acknowledge some of the simple truth, like that the sun never moves. I gotta agree with you more than a flame. There's some there's some things that I was gonna I'll email you about or whatever. Some things that seem to me that I'm not saying I understand it all, but there's a dragon flying in the sky right now. Think about that. There's a beast coming up out of the earth, making being like a dragon and making fire come down from the sky in the sight of men. These things are happening now.
Yeah, and the guy that's doing it's claiming to be able to do miracles and all kinds of them.
Heal blind and heal the deaf and make paraplegics walk again.
And more.
And he also put he put his brain chip into a herd of swine.
Yeah, the Three Little Pigs. I remember we watched that live when they had their live stream.
Yep. And now they've a monkey playing that has it, that plays Pong
doing it
with his
just
mind.
with its mind. Yeah, playing Pong with its mind. A monkey. I've seen that one too. Plus, he wants to be a cyborg dragon. He named his thing his stupid whatever after dragon. There's a lot to do with the dragon, and in that worship. It's just like a religion. I mean, to me, it's kind of like a religion, isn't it? The space agency looking up into the stars, worshiping the sun.
It's what Lucifer's doing.
Yeah, the kind of worshiping Mars. Did you ever read the book? The guy who wrote Tarzan wrote a series of books called John Carter of Mars.
Nope, haven't read them.
Okay. Well, have you ever read the Tarzan books?
Hold on a minute.
Movies.
Let me ask. Joel in the chat, More Than a Flame. They are basically trolling us. Who's they? That's what I want to know. Who's they? It's very important. Well, here's the point of view, Tony. Sorry. Here's my point of view. Wes and Sean here, they're continually talking about the elite, or they are hiding this, they do that, and you guys, you will have a different outlook on everything once you believe what Paul told the Ephesians.
Yeah, the powers of darkness, right?
It is the people at NASA like these guys bring up compartmentalization or whatever, and that's their answer. Yeah, that's how they keep it a secret. Who's they? There's nobody keeping a secret. And like the idea that the globe is only, this model is 500 years old or something, that's just made up by flat earthers or whatever. That's not at all what the scripture said. Paul wrote that he was shown a mystery that was kept secret since the world began, and that's what he preached his gospel according to. So to me, that's very important. Another one is a Luciferian. There's only one thing that a Luciferian does, and people are talking about Luciferians all the time, like the Vatican's a Luciferian. No, the Vatican's not Luciferians. If they were Luciferians, they would want to do what Lucifer wants. What does Lucifer want? One thing. He wants to go up in the sky.
He wants to stand up to the throne. He wants to be like the Most High.
So Elon Musk.
Shepherd, yeah.
Elon Musk is the head Luciferian in this world. If you think about it, he's the ruler of the darkness of this world today, or the dragon is. And I do mean literal ruler of the darkness. Like if you ask NASA, what's the best space vehicle that ever was made? They're gonna tell you SpaceX Dragon or the Falcon 9, or like that rocket. They're gonna tell you that. But let's continue on. I think I'm just gonna let it play. We're at like 14 minutes. I'm just gonna let it play for a while, and I love listening to these guys. Chris Shizpak says, "Look, brother, if you don't know what the Vatican is, I know what the Vatican is. You shouldn't be saying anything about it, or I do believe that you might be a discernment." Okay. Hey, Chris, look in the Bible and find me. There's only one thing that the Bible says that Lucifer has in his heart to do. Whoever is a mod in there, can you get rid of that comment? Chris, you don't need to talk like that. I don't want people talking like that in the chat. I can't do it because I'm on StreamYard. Thank you, Tony. Chris, you don't. I don't know why you would talk like that. But anyway, let's just listen to these guys for a while.
So, do you think, we have some engineers in the audience? Is there any way to misinterpret this description?
I mean, you'd have to just apply some strange metaphoric, out of context eisegesis, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we have a definite description of two bodies of water being separated, and that entails that it would be a firm, hard, physical, solid structure.
And Wes Blaze is kind of thinking that the heavens are just like the Earth, and they're physical and material in the same way that the Earth is. Like water would have weight to it, or there would be resistance if you were trying to go to water. These things don't apply in heaven, okay? It's dark waters. I can't explain to you what those waters are. I can't. But the winds are what hold all that up. The winds are the pillars of the heaven, the four winds.
You know the story about Jack and the one where they planted the beans, the magic beans, and went up into the clouds, and there was giants up there.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah, maybe there's some truth to that.
I think you're probably right.
Maybe there's floating icy islands too in the firmament on top of the winds.
But here's what we do know. What we do know is that there's right now, as we speak, yesterday SpaceX launched 88 satellites into orbit, or into whatever darkness is really what it is. So here's the important part, Sean and Wes. If you believe what Paul said to the Ephesians, and you believe that we're not struggling against flesh and blood, then who's putting your satellites on the balloons to fake it? Now, there is balloon programs. I don't deny that. NASA puts a lot of weather balloons and things, satellites. They're called satellites, but they're not really satellites. But there's a lot of balloons that have weather equipment and things on them. And that's what these guys are showing in their video and saying that that's satellites. But you need to catch up with the times here. And like if you're going to be talking about satellites, start talking about Starlink or something that's it's actually current. And one thing that we'll do, hopefully if we have time, is we'll just go to YouTube and we'll just Google, or we'll just put in a for you search terms, like search for Starlink satellites. If you go to my channel, I have film that I've taken of them on my channel. And to think they're on balloons almost says to me that you've never looked. Because when they fly over you, I can't even describe how intimidating it is. And that may just be because I know exactly what's not exactly, but I know what they're going to be. I know what they're going to do. They're going to be everyone's worst nightmare. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so that song, Where Are They? Where's the satellites? But yet they show in the same video that there are these balloons. Well, where are they?
Well, they just think that the firmament's a hard structure. Like, well, because it's hard, like molten looking glass. What?
Maybe those balloons are transparent, or they blend in a lot. Maybe
those balloons just go up to like 130,000 feet. They're not going anywhere near where the rockets are going.
Yeah, they're even lower than very low Earth orbit.
What is that? 20 miles? 20 miles or something?
Yeah, so about 20, 30 miles or something.
Yeah.
But then some of the other stuff goes up to 150. That's into low Earth orbit. But very low Earth orbit is like under 75 or something.
Low Earth orbit actually has to do with velocity. It doesn't have to do with your altitude. You could have low Earth orbit right a foot off the ground if there was no air. But we don't have any materials in this world that can hold up to... that can go through the air at that speed, because it would be like hitting a brick wall. That's why the firmament is hard, because it's moving. And so that's why when a meteor comes in, when a meteor comes in, it's going from a place that has zero drag or whatever. It's going from a place of no physics. It's coming from the heavenly realm, and it's going into the earth. And what happens is when it hits the air, it's the most heat and pressure that anyone could imagine. And that's why meteors, when they come in, we see them kind of spark out and burn up, or when we see a Falcon 9 second stage coming in, deorbiting back, when we see that, we see these straight line sparks flying through the sky, and we hear sonic booms. Something. And same when the Falcon 9s land, the sound takes forever to get down to the ground, but the rocket is already down there. You know what I mean? Thanks,
I
Chris.
put him in timeout again. Wow.
Oh, let him say whatever he wants as long as he's not cussing there. I don't care.
He's
So
upset. at you
so
for
what
some
happens?
reason.
What happens to the point of view is your point of view changes when you realize that there is no flesh and blood that you're struggling against. And I saw More Than a Flame said, yes, I'm interested in seeing the physical evidence that no man on earth is hiding anything. I don't know how to do physical evidence of that. And I didn't say they're not hiding anything. I'm saying that there is no elite that are hiding the shape of the world, or no whatever you want to call it. There's no group of men that know something that the rest of the world doesn't know. That's not what we're dealing with here. So that's why satellites are not fake. They're just exactly what SpaceX and NASA and all these space agencies say they are. But the problem is, where are they? That's the real problem. Where are they? They're in a bottomless pit of darkness. And there's a place in the Bible called hell, and it's a place of darkness, blackness of darkness. There's 7 wandering stars there. Jude talks about that. Reserved until the day of judgment. Okay? Darkness. Jesus called it outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. It's a real place.
Yeah, more than a flame was actually saying that to Chris. What's your backup? You know, why is he saying that? But
Okay, I
anyway,
must
I don't
have-
know if you caught that.
I did not. I just caught his last one. But yeah, definitely More Than a Flame. We'll have a conversation sometime. Let's see. Oh yeah. So space station. Let me do something. Oh, I wish. Yeah, I gotta learn how to do the. I have to learn how to do OBS with a guest. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm trying to.
I think you can attach. You can look in YouTube. There's a way to attach StreamYard to OBS.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. I don't like StreamYard at all. It's
Yeah.
If you go to my videos and you look at the StreamYard ones, they're horrible. They're
Yeah, I like Zoom for that. It was pretty clear, and I think it's free or cheap.
Yeah, I've used Zoom before. I don't think I've done a live stream. Well, maybe years ago I did. Like right when
Just all you do is you run your Zoom and then you stream normal on your OBS. So you don't
Okay.
have to do anything. You just have it in the background, share your screen, and OBS picks everything up from there.
More Than a Flame, I think Tom Morgan might have been referencing John chapter 10. Who's they? Fallen angels. If you ask me, they would be fallen angels. The planets also. That's one of the biggest deceptions. Is the planets calling or to themselves, drawing to themselves the hearts of men. Oh, Amos 9:2, and also Isaiah 5 somewhere, 5 verse something, 14 or something like that. Obadiah 1 verse 4. I know what Tom Morgan's going. So let's see. Let's listen to these guys a little more. I keep stopping it. I'm sorry. I'm going to let it play for a while.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah. Do you want this one?
Sure. This is John 3, verse 12 through 13. If I have told you about earthly things and you do not believe, how will you believe if I tell you about heavenly things? No one has ascended into heaven except the one who descended from heaven. The
Oh
Son of
yeah,
Man.
here we go. I got a note on
You mean
this.
Enoch? Didn't
They were joking around about Enoch. Enoch was taken up into heaven.
Not
Now,
just
he-
that, but they were saying that Jesus didn't descend, right? Go ahead and play it.
Okay, sorry.
What about
Another
Elijah?
show.
I thought Elijah did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So there's the heavens where the birds fly. Then there's the heaven where Yeshua is talking about being able to ascend above the firmament.
Above the firmament, guys, into the layers of the heaven. This is where he descended from. He didn't descend from the sky. He's the Son of God, sent to earth, manifested in the flesh through the womb of woman. This is 1 Timothy 3:16. In order that he could be here, but he didn't come from the sky, which is also where the birds fly, what's called. In fact, we got a verse right here. It's Genesis 1:20. God said, let the waters teem with living creatures, let the birds fly above the earth in the open firmament of the sky, the open expanse of the sky. So there's a difference between the open space that the firmament encapsulates versus the different layers of the firmament, like you see over my shoulder in the model that we explained in episode 1.
That's going to be hard to watch them make a model while they're not even... the second verse in the Bible has to be eliminated for their model or something. I don't get it. Darkness upon the face of the abyss.
Yeah, I thought we wasn't supposed to make a model, but I didn't want to bring that up.
No, I agree with you, and I can see their point.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be
No,
nice.
I know. I brought that up with them, and they addressed it, and it is what it is. I think that
Right.
when we're not supposed to make a graven image of anything in heaven or beneath the heaven. Well, West Blaze brings up a good point. What happens when you take a picture of the sun? What is that? Isn't that an image of something in heaven?
Sure.
So what I would say is I would just have to say everyone use caution. How's that? I'm not going to say that these guys are wrong for doing that or
Right.
anything like that. But I do. That's how we got into this whole globe thing. Let's make a model of this God's creation. You can't make a model of something. You can't make a corruptible model on the earth of something incorruptible. Do you know what I mean? And it even talks about that in Romans 1. It says that they what was it? They professed to be wise and became fools and changed the glory of the incorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man. I'm like thinking the globe, you know. The earth is not a shape. It isn't an object like we were taught to believe when we were growing up. It's not a planet. Earth is where we live. It's this place where we live. It's the same for everybody. Up and down is the same direction for everybody. You've never been to a place where down was up, like they tell us, they're taught us, like Australia's upside down. It's not upside down. I know people there.
It's not upside down. They're not standing on their heads.
No, they're just like us. They're just up is up. That's where God is, and down is down. That's where the ground is. Okay, I'm sorry. I paused it again. How did I do that?
No, you're fine. But didn't they
Fullness of
say
the
something
scriptures
about
explain it.
Jesus didn't ascend or descend? What did they say there?
Yeah, he does, I don't know what Sean's trying to say. Sean does. There's a book that called The Ascension of Isaiah, and Sean is not a fan of that book. And it just so happens in that book that Jesus descends down through every layer of the heavens, and so I think this might be about that. We'll see what he says.
Yeah, but in
Model over my
Ephesians
shoulder with
4,
multiple-
see, I wrote a note, and this is Ephesians 4:9 and 4:10. Now, he that ascendeth, what is it? But he also descended first into the lower parts of earth. He that descended is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might
That's a
fill
good
all
point.
things.
I think what Sean's talking about is he was born, like when he first came to the earth, he didn't, I don't know why Sean would say he didn't descend from heaven, because the elect one, he's been in heaven since the foundation of the world, so I don't know why he would say he didn't descend from heaven, but because he
maybe
clearly
just-
did. He descended
maybe
from
I
heaven
misunderstood
into the womb of Mary, right?
Yeah,
like he didn't come from anywhere else, he came from the sky.
like
but,
he just skipped all that. He went bloop. I'm in the
Yeah, I
valley.
I don't know really. Maybe we're misunderstanding what he's saying, but
Okay,
yeah,
maybe I am. I'll chalk that one up to I don't know.
yeah. No, I disagree. But I don't, I can't put intention to it. But check this out.
layers, and Yeshua came from, I'm guessing, the top layer where the Father is, because he was hidden in the bosom of the Father since before time began.
And his
But
quiver. Yep.
in his quiver, that's right. He didn't come from the sky where the birds fly. That's so anyway, there's a distinction there in the context used.
But he came from the sky, from where the Most High is, right? I think. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I don't know.
That's correct. Yep. And context creates comprehension.
That's right.
Amos 9:6, and in the New American Standard Bible, it says, "He builds his upper rooms in the heavens and founds his vault upon the earth. He summons the waters of the sea and pours them over the face of the earth. Yahuwah is his name, the Lord."
That's right.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
it just
Amos.
directly tells you. I mean, whoever translated this, they knew exactly what the context was, and they tried to describe it as a vault.
One thing.
Go ahead.
Except one thing, except for that word that they're using to describe it, saying vault, and they're missing the second part where it says pours out the waters from it. A vault holds things. A vault isn't a floor or separating ceiling. A vault is like I have a safe.
Like a
and I
vaulted
store
ceiling
things
too,
in
though.
it, right? It's not a
Or like
vaulted ceiling, is it?
No, but I think that what is a vaulted ceiling? Think about it.
But I
That's-
thought of it more as a safe because it's holding the waters.
And it could be, yeah, I think it could be probably looked at the same way. Both ways, I mean.
Like
You know what
the
I mean?
windows of heaven, there's water stored up. So that's the way I read that. That's just my personal opinion. I never looked at that word for vault as like the canopy or the firmament. If it wanted to say firmament, it wouldn't have said vault. It would have said firmament.
Well, I think it's just a different version that they're looking
Okay.
at. I think the other version says his troop upon the earth, and another one says firmament or expanse maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna look for the next timestamp that I had. There was. It almost seems like we haven't even gotten to any of them yet. But let me. Okay, we're actually a minute away from the next one, so it should be somewhere around here, hopefully.
On
Whoops.
record, any amateur balloon or amateur rocket launch would always show that what goes up must come down. And at no point is there any magical altitude at which that's not true.
Okay, this is what I want to comment about that. What goes up must come down 100% west, you're right, on the Earth. What happens when you leave the Earth? What happens when you go outside of the Earth? And what I mean is you go, there's a place at the end of heaven and earth, and it is a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And when you go there, it's not an altitude thing. It's how fast you can go sideways, because that's exactly what the stars do. They circle around Polaris, and so there's a place up there where there's no directional preference. Like if you were to take a baseball in a place with no physics and you were to throw a baseball, and the baseball was going to remain to be physical, what would the baseball do if there was no forces acting upon it? It would just continue in that trajectory forever, right? That's what anything that these satellites are doing. They're putting them up in a place where it's a celestial place, a heavenly place. It's not like Earth. There's no air there. There's no birds. There's no water. It's a waste and horrible place, as Enoch said that. And Uriel told me it was a prison for the fallen angels that came down in Genesis 6, and for the 7 planets. They're all bound there. And I think the Bible and the Book of Enoch back that up pretty clearly. So the next one I had was talking about Starlink. So we're going to have to look for... Oh, cool. I just figured out. I think I can do... Oh, nice. Oh, cool. I just found out I can do the timestamp thing more accurately on the screen above. So I didn't know that I could do that. So next one was at 21 minutes. Okay, that's close enough. 2050.
See these hunks of metal just floating around. Now, people claim to be able to see them. Isn't that right, Sean?
I claim to be able to see them.
Do you hear people
Okay.
every once in a
Yeah, I
while
got a
saying,
note
"Oh, I
here."
see these lights in the sky that are satellites all the time"?
Yeah, I've heard people claim that, but then you're like, oh, have you not heard of Google Loon or Starlink or
I don't know what Sean's trying to say here, but listen carefully to what he says.
any of the other projects that have been around for dozens and dozens of years? And so, what some of those we're going to expound upon here in a little bit. But they're like, no, I've never heard of that. Well, of course you haven't. They don't want you to know about it because they want you to think you're seeing actual lights in the sky.
That we're seeing actual lights in the sky. Sean, you need to go outside and observe the heavens. And I'm not saying that because you're like, because I think you should. I'm saying that because you're in error saying these things. Now, 2 years ago, I think I probably would have been on the same page with you and saying, I don't see much up there. But not now. If you go out, the sky has changed because we live in a time where everyone hearing this is going to be surprised when the sky falls, when darkness consumes this earth on fire. Because of the things that they're doing, because of these abominations. So that's what's so hard for me. That's why I do this live stream, why I do this, why I'm looking at their video, because they're in denial. What they're doing is they're saying that Satan doesn't exist, that he's fake, and he's not deceiving the world, basically. These guys are saying that men are deceiving the world. But we'll get to that.
You remember when Rob Skiba talks about taking the
Oh yeah, what's
taking
that?
the night vision goggles and looking at the sky
Okay.
Okay,
and seeing.
sorry guys,
What
we're skipping
many
to
miles away?
this.
You're just not, guys.
No, sir.
That's not how your eyes work. But who's this dude?
This guy says his name.
I don't know why I had that down there. 40 minutes. How you doing, Tony? Sorry, I'm just kind of going here. Hope you're doing
Oh,
good.
you're fine. Yeah, I was going to comment about all those, that one last graphic that you had up at your at their 20-minute mark. All those
Okay.
pieces that they had, it was just funny to me
This one?
because
It might take a second.
there you go. So yeah, all those letters, that graphic is just words describing them, so it's not that cluttered. And those debris are very, very tiny, and that's like all the things that they're tracking that's floating around up there in that, darkness. So it's just hard to see. It's just really, really hard to see something that's like as big as a piece of rice that's 40 miles up or whatever. It's kind of hard to see that even with a satellite or telescope or P900. You're going to have a hard time seeing a speck of rice up, 40 or 50 or 100 miles up.
Well,
So
and
that's
here's the thing is,
and-
it doesn't matter necessarily how big the object is if you're reflecting light off of something.
Yeah, it might reflect like a magnifying glass, but the funny thing is they're both the globe's picture.
Yeah, I know. Well, he pointed that out too. But here's the thing: is a satellite. Okay, if you look at the Earth, pretend that was the size of the Earth or whatever. If all those satellites, if there's 2,000 of them up there, do you want to know how far apart they all are from each other? Earth is huge. It's very big. Tom
It's like
Morgan,
one
that
over
link right
one
there
day,
is.
right?
Sorry, Tony.
No, it's
That
just
link
like a whole.
we got some stupid delay going. That link I put in the chat, Tom, that's the video that we're reviewing right now. If that's what you're looking for, I think it was. Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
That's fine. I didn't mean to interrupt you. You're good.
Oh no, you didn't. I think we were getting a weird delay thing going on, and because every time I started talking, all of a sudden I heard you talking. Okay, we're gonna go to 40 minutes, and What I want to do is I kind of want to get through some of these so we can go to Google. I want to do a few Google searches.
Watch this. You ready?
Okay, what?
Did you see it?
Oh,
No,
think-
man.
Okay.
That was it. You missed it.
Let me
It's a
go back a
metal.
little bit. Sorry. They're talking about how fast satellites go.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. 8 kilometers per second. What is
Okay.
that?
Oh,
Like,
I don't have my conversion.
Almost 5 miles.
no, I've been practicing. I was watching Bruce Lee a little bit and Jackie Chan. I've been practicing. I can move this fast. See, watch this. You ready?
Okay, what?
Did you see it?
No,
8
man.
That was it. You missed it. You gotta be quick. 8 kilometers per second. I mean, that's faster than you can see, and that's, I'm a deadly weapon now. So
Sean, I love it. I think it's hilarious. And I think Sean is pretty good at kind of making fun of stuff. So that's great. But let me ask you a question. If you were standing back and you were watching something going 20,000 miles an hour, if you watched it for 10 seconds, would you see it? Yes, right? You'd see 10 seconds of it, right? Well, if it's moving 17,000 miles an hour, way faster than a bullet, but it's 250 miles away, you have plenty of time to watch it go over you. And so there's a few things we're going to check out what they say here.
that's why he was saying 8 kilometers per second. That's what it takes to fall synchronously around the Earth.
Okay, Sean just said it. What did he say that they were doing synchronously around the Earth? They're falling. Free falling. Falling. Continuously. Perpetually. The Apocalypse of Abraham talks about ceaselessly soaring in the air of the underworld. That's what this is talking about. Paul, the vision of St. Paul, he looked back on the firmament when he was going up to the third heaven, and he saw power that deceives, evil that deceives, and draws down to itself the hearts of men in the firmament. The vision of Isaiah, he saw when he ascended into the firmament with the angel or whatever, he saw Samuel and his hosts and the angels of Satan were fighting with one another. There's a lot of places where all throughout the Bible, where are the angels that sinned, that left their first estate? God put them down in hell and under chains of darkness. That's why it's so important. God when he separated the waters from the waters, and he divided the night from the day from the light, or the dark from the light. That's real. Darkness is darkness, and light. When you have a light, the darkness ceases to exist. But if you put that light out, the darkness comes right back. Okay, God separated them. They're not part of each other. The darkness is bad, and or night, I should say, but the light is good. So I'm gonna keep playing this a little bit.
But yet,
It's magic.
whoa, that was good. That was like
Yeah.
2 kilometers per second. You're getting there. You're getting there. Keep practicing, young Padawan.
Okay, I'm gonna actually let that play, and for a minute while I'm gonna try to get something on my screen. Hopefully my computer doesn't start cutting out. We'll see. I'll pause it if it does.
Basically, that would be how are we seeing, people claim they see the ISS, which is as if a man-made satellite put in space, and they claim that they can track it with an app and see what they are told is the ISS.
Yeah, this is one thing I thought of while kind of preparing for this. Sean, if you tell me your zip code or your town that you're in, and I will tell you where to look in the sky at what time to see the space station. Anytime that it goes over your house, which is probably, it goes over your house a lot of times, but it's visible 20 days out of 30 And some of those days it'll be visible 2 times in a row, like 93 minutes apart from each other. And it's very consistent and very predictable, just like all the Starlink satellites are. You can track them and you can watch them fly over. It's not something to question. But you'd have to look into some of these things. If you want to talk about Starlink, I know quite a bit about Starlink. I know quite a bit about what orbital velocity is, the speed that something needs to go in order to do what Wes Blaze was talking about. What goes up must come down. There's one exception to that, and NASA found that by going sideways, out of the air. Because if you go out of the air, and yes, thrust still works in a rocket. I don't care if science would say that. We know that it does work, because when we launch a rocket and it goes up above the Kármán line, we can still go faster. The rocket can still go faster because it has it. I don't know if it's because it has an oxidizer in the fuel, so it's like if you were on a floating carpet and you shot a gun, the recoil would make you go backwards and the bullet would go the other way, right? But you wouldn't just stay still and the bullet would go the other way. There's an opposite and equal reaction that has to happen. So in a state of no physics, I would assume that same thing is happening. And you guys keep in mind that any of these things that men are doing up in the temple of God are strong delusion. It's the same thing as when the Nimrod and all those were building the Tower of Babel. They all wanted to ascend into heaven in their hearts. Just exactly what Lucifer has in his heart. So now we're doing that again, and it's the second time we're doing that. But it's Luciferian to want to go to space or to want to do these things. It's Luciferian. Lucifer thought it up, and he's putting it in the hearts of men to do that, which is crazy, but sorry.
250 miles above us, flying at 17,000 miles an hour, right? Yeah. But yet they see it throughout.
That's my computer. I don't think that's Sean. That's my computer. So I guess I can't look that thing up. I was trying to look up. What I'm going to do is, sorry guys, it's just going to take a minute. I'm going to show you my video that I took. You know how flat earthers like to have the P900 and the P1000 cameras? Why is it that no flat earthers use that sweet camera to film the ISS? I don't get it. I've done it. You can film it. You can see it. You know, I'm not saying that proves exactly what it is or something, but you can see the solar arrays. And by the way, it's scarlet colored. Think about that. There's a scarlet colored beast in Revelation. Daniel said it had 4 wings like a fowl, and 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Dominion of what? Dominion of the host of heaven.
And Satan's prince of the power of the air, correct?
Yep, and he also, good point, Tony. And also, doesn't Satan masquerade like as an angel of light?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I wanted to talk about those satellites and SpaceX and that fuel. You was talking about thrust and stuff. And
Yeah, yep.
I had 2 small notes.
Okay.
I already brought up one of them.
All right.
The other one is thermodynamics. And
Mhm.
I was talking to you about that kryptonite fuel. Now,
Is that what it-
the
okay.
way that, yeah, that's why I was bringing that up, is the kryptonite fuel is what's allowing them. That's a unique breakthrough that they had. And
I think that's
why
brand new. I think that's brand
it
new.
is.
Yeah,
Brand new.
because they're actually putting that on those Starline or starships or whatever that they're trying to build for the moon. They're actually switching to that. And yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's like brand new. Like it's just they're just developing how to use it or whatever. But it's something I haven't looked Go ahead.
That's why I think it's important to look at what's going on in the skies. You know, he said to look up during the end times, right?
Yep, he did.
So wouldn't the gatekeepers be the ones that's saying don't look up? They're telling you to do the exact opposite that we're told to do at the end times, is to look up.
Who's telling them not to look up?
Well, a lot of the flat earthers say the sky isn't important. The ground.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
important.
that's true. And that's if everyone's saying that men are putting or they're faking things in the sky and fooling other men, they're deceived big time. By the dragon is deceiving them. Because if I ask Sean or Wes, if there's a SpaceX dragon attached to the space station flying up in outer darkness or in the sky or space, whatever you want to call it, right now, and I show it to them flying over their house, they're going to say, well, SpaceX dragon isn't actually up there.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
going to
real.
cover their ears and they're going to say la 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 la.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
listening.
unfortunately, that's written in Revelation. The dragon will overcome them until, well, in Daniel it says until the Ancient of Days came. So that like makes it really like a kind of like a sad situation for people like me. And I know there's a lot of people like you, Tony. You can see what I'm talking about, and Tom
And that's
in the
why we're
chat.
screaming, going, "Hey, the sky's falling! You know, look up, look up! There's something going
Yeah.
on up there."
Yep,
It's a
there is.
symbolism in a parable. There's something happening. They even joke about it later at 1 minute and 25, 1 hour and 25. They were joking about the Starlink satellites falling. They said, "Wouldn't that be funny if they all fell down?" And I'm
And
like,
that's
well,
prophesied.
yeah, that's
It's
kind
prophesied.
of prophesied about the
Yeah.
fire coming down. And now they're putting this kryptonite fuel in the satellites, right, with that they don't want to believe are up there. Whether they are launched, okay, here's a thought for you. What if they're
Okay.
launched up in these rockets and all these satellites have balloons in them?
Yeah,
So
there's
they're
no
running-
there's no balloon satellites. I mean, there's satelloons and like there's the programs that they do, like NASA does use balloons, but there are no orbiting that what SpaceX doesn't put up balloons, and NASA doesn't. NASA does, I guess, put up balloons, but not when they're launching a rocket.
Right, they're putting up a different kind of satellite. That's just another program.
Yeah, and they're putting it into an orbit that where it doesn't decay very much. They're putting it doesn't. They don't need fuel once they put it into that next realm. You don't need fuel. Maybe they adjust them very small amount. There's a but generally, you're perpetually keeping that momentum. You're not going to lose that momentum because there's nothing to slow you down in a place with no physics. Here is, let me see if I get it on screen really quick. This is some footage I took of the space station with my P1000. Now, I'm not saying it's good footage. I'm just saying that you can clearly see the solar arrays, and it's also worse footage because I'm running it through two programs and then StreamYard too, so it gets degraded quite a bit. Quite a bit, actually. But you can see it there. And that's kind of choppy, but I could pause it, I suppose, if I can find the right buttons here. Let me just try to find a spot where it was somewhat clear. Okay, can you guys see that? Notice it's scarlet colored.
Yeah.
That's so interesting to me. And it's also the 8th wandering star. Now, Enoch reveals a mystery there. He saw 7 wandering stars that didn't obey God, right? And so God was angry and bound them. Well, John went to a place where he saw 7 mountains, right? In Revelation
Yep.
17. Well, that's what Enoch called those 7 planets, or those 7 wandering stars. He called them mountains. And so all of a sudden John gets taken in the spirit to this wilderness, and he sees 7 mountains, and he sees the beast and Babylon riding the beast, the whore or whatever, and all that stuff he sees in the spirit, by the way, which is very important. Babylon's not even on the earth. Babylon is in the spirit, in the wilderness. That's where Babylon is. That's where John saw Babylon. But he saw 7 mountains, and then he said, this is the mind which hath wisdom or something. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And then it says something about the 8th is the 8th is the beast that was and is not and yet is. The beast that ascends out of the bottomless pit, comes up out of the bottomless pit. So that's why I'm saying that darkness up there, that's where the angels are bound under chains of darkness. That's where the 8th wandering star, that's where the wandering stars are. It is not heaven. It is a place of darkness. We could call it the firmament, and we can call it Sheol at the same time. And I know people probably don't like that I say that, but there's a lot of scriptures that say that. A lot of books that say that, I should say. The Bible talks about hell being moved from beneath. Being moved from beneath. What would that mean? And also the dark waters, that's another thing in Enoch 67. The lake of fire that we read about. Enoch writes about how it starts on fire. And it starts on fire because of the angels being punished in those waters. From them ascending, the water becomes cold and becomes a fire which burns forever. So that whole idea of darkness doesn't come from me. Darkness is under chains of darkness. That's in 2 Peter 2 verse 4. I can't think of all the places that it mentions the angels being locked up. But that's where they are. So let me we'll go back to the video of Sean's here. If I can do this right. Hopefully I think it stayed in the same spot. Okay, here we go. We're going to listen to these guys for a minute.
The sky for like 3 to 5 minutes, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, relative distance.
We got to listen
All
to
relative.
that.
8
Because-
kilometers per second.
You can't pause it without it unpausing itself. That's so weird. I want to listen to Sean here again because I want to clear up. He's misinformed here.
Kilometers per second. You're getting there. You're getting there. Keep practicing, young Padawan. Basically, that would be how are we seeing? Like people claim they see the ISS, which is as if a man-made satellite put in space, and they claim that they can track it with an app and see what they are told is the ISS, 250 miles above us, flying at 17,000 miles an hour.
Okay, listen, guys.
Right?
Yeah.
But yet they see it throughout the sky for like 3 to 5 minutes, which is hilarious.
Sean, we see it for up to 8 minutes. From horizon to horizon. If you have if you can see for the whole time. If it's lit up for the whole time, it's different every time depending on where the sun is. But it could be up to like 8 minutes to go from horizon to horizon. And if you figure out how far that is, it's really good distance. And to me, it even seems like too far to see it. But if you catch it right on the horizon, you can tell it's very far away. And then when it flies over you, it's much closer than when it was on the horizon. So it's not 3 minutes, it's more like 8 minutes.
Is to me.
Yeah, relative distance. It's all relative.
8 kilometers per second.
That's 4.971 miles per second.
I just did it again. You didn't see it because you can't see it.
I wasn't
it's
watching.
too fast. I know. I'm sorry. I'll try to slow myself down a little bit. But if you see me twitch, I mean, I'm practicing again. But
All right,
ultimately,
Flash.
yeah, that's right. That's right. 8 kilometers per second because you got to. Apparently, there's no friction, right? Where there's no atmosphere, so therefore it could go that fast. Even though bullets don't go that fast, nobody can see bullets.
Bullets go through air.
But hey, whatever. If that's what they say, it must be real, right?
It's actually what they experience, Sean. That's what Gemini, when they did the first spacewalk. Do you think they knew what was going to happen? No, they had no idea. That's how they've developed the idea of an orbit. Nobody would have known what an orbit was unless they were doing these things up there. Yeah. So we're going to skip a little bit forward. this is becoming a long video, but that's okay. I just, at least it seems like my audio isn't getting all choppy like it was every 3 minutes on the other video with Thomas. Okay, I think. Oh wait, I gotta go forward. Go ahead, Tony, if you got something to say.
Yeah, you're sounding clear. I was just
Good.
gonna say your sound's good. It was messing up some a little bit ago, but it's fine now.
Good. Here, let's listen to these guys again.
And a part of that was, all right, well, we're going to figure out how to deceive people. We got that down, and they got better and better and better at that.
Okay, so Sean brings up something very good here, but I think he's maybe he's a little bit off on his thinking, but he brings up something very important.
It's only until the last 500-600 years that they actually come out with an entirely different model, which is crazy.
And that's not true. Again, this goes back to what Enoch said about those 7 stars. When did all of this start? Paul said it was a mystery that he learned since a secret that was kept since the world began. I'm not saying that people didn't believe in a flat earth. I'm saying that the planets were deceiving men on the earth since the 4th day when they were created. Because it says in Enoch chapter 18, it says that they didn't come forth at their appointed time at the beginning of their rising, which to me would be the very first time that they went on their courses. And they didn't obey God. They didn't come out when they were supposed to. And so from that day on is when men were looking up and worshiping the stars in the host of heaven. And the idea of a globe is very old. It's not just 500 years old, I don't think. That's not saying that people didn't believe in a flat earth as well.
Yeah, they had a very similar model with different aspects of it in the past, but now it's completely the opposite model, and that's what they're pushing really hard for people to believe. That way, when you pick up the Bible and try to read Genesis 1, it makes no sense to you.
Right.
And that's part of this big deception that we're trying to uncover.
Yeah, absolutely. They did for quite some time progress slowly into the current model that we have now. And even, in recent decades, did they make some big changes to the numbers and stuff to that. But nonetheless, they were working with a geocentric model, but still trying to force a spherical globe into that. And then they just changed over to heliocentrism. But yeah, all throughout there, they've had this word that referred to things that could be seen in a supposed orbit or in the so-called heavens that they would call satellites. Right.
Yeah, they did. And what's interesting is if they can get people over time systematically, and this is how you know it's not just men doing this, right? Because they had the same deception over hundreds and hundreds of years.
Okay, you hear what Sean's pointing out? He's saying this is how we can know it's not men doing this, because it's been going on for centuries and centuries. It's generation after generation that are deceived like this.
Far outweighing the average lifespan of a man.
Yeah,
yet they
those
carry
unclean
on the
spirits are still alive, still kicking, still deceiving.
That they can propagate the deception to each generation and make sure it gets carried on while men live and die.
So the they
go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, they just said it. The they is the darkness, the dark spirits.
Yep, the dark spirits. But what the difference here is that these guys think that there's men on the earth that are like buddies with the angels in the firmament, and that they're lying to people. Like they're getting some knowledge or something and they're lying to people, and that's just not the case. They're being deceived. And this is what in the book of Revelation, the whole world was deceived by the dragon.
Right. Yeah.
It wasn't the whole world minus a group of
the
elite.
enlightened people, right?
Yeah, there is no mention of any elite people in the Bible. There's people that hide the truth in unrighteousness, like your first grade teacher that showed you the globe. She was hiding the truth in unrighteousness, but guess what? She had no idea. Do you know what I'm saying? Your teacher wasn't lying to you. Your teacher wasn't hiding something from you. Your teacher was telling you what she believed.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Misinformed as she was, yes.
Yeah, and that's what we're learning now because Jesus is revealing this to us over the last 5 years. He's showing us that we've been believing a lie, and what's happening is the flat earthers are looking at their fellow brother and saying, "Oh yeah, you're involved in the group that's been lying to the world," and they're not really understanding that there is no group lying to the world. The world is believing a lie inspired from the sky. It comes from the sky, you know.
Yep, for sure.
Okay, here we go.
And so this is, to me, that's a whole nother show, I guess. But but that's there's a lot to that concept. But the whole thing is that if they get you to believe something completely opposite of what the Creator describes, then what are we even describing at that point, Wes? Yeah. What are we like? That is literally the underpinning theology and motivating driving philosophy of the occult.
Right. They take what's absolute and they flip it upside down, they twist it, and they turned it into something confusing and nothing like reality at all, nothing like what the Creator made or what he said he made.
Exactly, Wes. Good point. Like in other words, God said that the earth is stable and still and established and shall not be moved. And what does the world teach us? Oh, that means it's rotating. You know, we observe it not rotating, but it must be rotating. We observe it being stationary, but it must be moving. That's the kind of thing that Wes is talking about there. They confuse, and it's not men that are confusing other men. It's all men being confused. That's
they got busy looking up at the stars, and they thought the earth was moving.
Yep. They imagine themselves in the stars. That's why they think Earth is moving. And actually, that's one interesting thing about Enoch. When he went up to that waste and horrible place, when he looked at the earth, he said there was no firmament of heaven above and no firmly founded earth beneath. Why would he say no firmly founded earth beneath? So there was an earth there, but it was moving, or what? That's what I think, because if you go up there and you're in the firmament and you're spinning along with the firmament, it sure would look like the earth is moving.
Yeah, especially if you're on one of those giant clouds with this castle up there. You know,
yeah.
Whatever.
Like NASA, they call the ISS their castle in the sky.
Exactly.
And then I'm sitting here searching for New Jerusalem. There's a big difference between those two castles, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that heavenly home. That's going to be nice. I can't wait to see my room.
Well, you know what? I think it's all going to happen all really quickly at once, because that's what I was saying on that comment to Jeranism's channel. I said, generally when someone talks about being saved, I can give an example. I fell in the water and I was drowning, but my brother jumped in and saved me. You're not saved... you're saved from something. You're saved from something usually bad. You know what I mean? Something bad happening or something bad. You're saved. So just that simple concept. The world is being destroyed, guys, and so what happens on the last day? Jesus said He'll raise you up on the last day, and then Paul wrote about how the dead in Christ will rise first, and then those who are alive will go and meet them in the clouds. There's a reason why all that happens. It's because the earth is dropping away. The earth is Enoch saw the earth being swallowed up in an abyss. And the valley of the shadow of death. This is all referencing the darkness. It's not good. It's going to come down on the earth. See, here's More Than a Flame is a good example of not believing what Paul told the Ephesians. He says, the Bible is full of conspiracies. There are wicked men who know what they're doing. It's a huge statement and seems ridiculous to say that nobody is purposely deceiving. That's unbiblical. It's actually exactly not. Would you consider flesh and blood to be people? That's what I would. There's not people you're not struggling against people. There's not people that go home and say to their wife, oh man, I almost got busted in the globe lie today. That was close. That's not reality. People are just like you and me, and Wes and Sean. They care. Even wicked people love their families. They do good things for their families. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, we're gonna go to. Or I'll let them keep talking for a minute, and I'll find the next one.
Yeah. So I think we actually have a quick little clip we want to show about this topic of just the immense craziness of the pseudoscience that we see coming out of mainstream scientific articles. We see it
from our atmosphere.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Matter.
Let's watch.
Really
Okay, right about here.
Movie magic often means using CGI to make the impossible possible. But there are other times where movie magic actually means using practical effects to make these moments real, not only on screen, but in real life.
Let's listen to Wes what he says
Man.
here.
Oh, we froze. There we go. That last scene, kind of where it's showing the big screen. They got a big wraparound screen, and they're filming this set with the satellite looking thing attached to an arm, and they're just doing some Hollywood magic trickery there. That's the same thing we saw with Elon Musk's Tesla, when during the live stream of when he had that Tesla in supposed orbit, the background kind of cut out, and you could see the backdrop and the lights for a split second there during that live stream.
No, Wes, that's what the flat earthers say, but have you ever seen the inside of the fairing that the car was in? That's what you saw. You saw the inside of the fairing. It wasn't a photo studio. It was in a rocket way high in the sky, and the fairing separated. And the moment that happens, you see the light, and you see the. I could show you, but I'm probably not even going to look it up because my computer probably will take forever. But know that if you look into it, Wes. Look into the Falcon Heavy that launched it, and you can see them loading the car and fixturing it. I'm not saying this proves anything. What I'm saying is what you're saying is not true at all. You don't see a photo, you don't see a screen or anything like that. You see the inside of a fairing, a black inside of a fairing. So.
And they had that same kind of screen going. Sean, are you froze or am I?
Okay, here's when...
I think it's Sean that's frozen. So I'm going to keep talking until the
just
song. We
skip a
actually
little
got a whole project, but we're working on getting those guys on here in just a minute and talking with them about that. But we're going to premiere the new song called Don't Let Me Go. Mike
It's a good song.
featuring
You guys will
myself
like
and
it.
J.O. for tonight's broadcast. So I'm excited about that. And hopefully we can get some Sean back in here. He is one half of the show. Everybody give some love to Kingdom in Context. If you haven't gone over to subscribe to Kingdom in Context, he's got a backup channel called Kingdom Cast. If you guys have not checked out his videos, if you're seeing this show for the first time or you've seen it recently, but you haven't checked out Sean's channel, I would thoroughly recommend the ministry known as Kingdom in Context, because Sean Griffin over there with his wife, he's got his friend Ken Heidebrecht joining him on a lot of his shows and presentations. And I have said it many times, but I've learned more from watching what these guys and what they have presented than I have from any other ministry combined. And so I just wish, it always gives me great joy to see that people I know and other people are being turned on to his channel and the shows that he's putting out, because so edifying. There's so much information there. And the Father does not want us to be ignorant. We're not supposed to be ignorant of the devil's devices. And
What are the devil's devices? Well, what does the devil want to do? He wants to ascend into heaven. What are the fiery darts of the devil? What is a flying roll? What is a beast that comes up out of the earth and makes fire come down from the sky? What else? What flies with the clouds of heaven? What waxes great even to the host of heaven and casts down the stars, or some of the stars, to the ground? These are flying machines. Devil's devices are flying machines. And if I asked Wes, like I'm just using Wes for an example here, if I was to ask Wes about dragon, because remember in Revelation 12, the war that's happening in heaven, up in the sky, that war, Michael and his angels were fighting against the dragon, and who is Satan, the devil. So unfortunately, people tell me Satan's not a rocket, and I beg to differ. The Bible says he is. At least because he's been manifested into reality now. Okay, let's listen to Sean a little, Wes a little more. Wes is a good guy. He's a good guy. He's got a good heart, and that, like, I like these guys a lot. I'm not trying to rip on them.
Supposed to be knowledgeable in his word, and there's just so many key concepts that aren't really being taught elsewhere.
Yes. Okay, so we are supposed to be knowledgeable in his word. Now we're gonna soon, coming up in one of these timestamps that I put down, is when Wes and Sean are saying that the biblical cosmology doesn't have any place in it for space or satellites. If we were supposed to be knowledgeable in his word, then we would realize that it's prophesied in the book of Daniel and in the book of Revelation that the Gentiles will tread New Jerusalem underfoot. And Enoch chapter 56, they shall go up and tread underfoot the land of his elect ones, and the city of his righteous shall be before them a highway and a threshing floor. Okay, they're trodden underfoot. In Daniel 8, the sanctuary be trodden underfoot. What this means is that there's going to be men up there. There's a dominion, and this is why I like Daniel 7 so much. Daniel's so clear about what he sees happening. He sees the dominion of the host of heaven being taken by transgression, being taken. And then the saints of the Most High take it back and give it, and the Son of Man has it for eternal. His dominion is one that lasts forever. So I think when we are going to be knowledgeable in the scriptures or not ignorant, we can't be saying that no, men will never go up to the firmament or to the heaven or whatever you want to call it. Men will never climb up there because the biblical cosmology doesn't leave room for it. Well, that doesn't make any sense, because that's how the sky falls, is they burn her with fire. And the whole what did the dragon do? What did he do to the stars? His tail. What did his tail do? It cast a third of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's things we can't ignore. There, and like Ezekiel 7, men putting abominations in the midst of Jerusalem. That's
Right.
to us in our time. That's New Jerusalem, and it's not just that's just about Ezekiel's time. Better not read that book. No, that's not how the Bible. To me, that's not how it works. It's the living Word of God, and it's alive. And it's alive today, and he's speaking, uttering his voice today.
You don't see a lot of ministries talking about the gospel of the kingdom of God, about the nature of our bodies and the resurrection. And I'm excited to get to do some episodes on some stuff like this coming soon. I know we're going to be doing an episode called Resurrected Superhumans, talking about the nature of our bodies, the nature of our angelic brethren, their spiritual bodies that they have made of water and spirit versus the flesh and bone made of earth that we have. Look forward to that episode. We got a special announcement here.
I'm gonna pause it here, and there's one more timestamp, and then we're for sure gonna play that song that they released as a pretty good song. I disagree more than a flame. He's flying with the clouds of heaven right now, uttering his voice.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
I know that it's been a good show. I gotta go.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tony. I'm sorry that I really didn't organize this quite right. I'm sorry about that. But thank you for.
It was fun. I had a good time hanging out with you. Not at all. I thought it was fine.
Okay. Good. Good.
No problems at all?
It's a delicate thing. It's not a video that, it's not even I mean, who wants, I was trying to make a video about it earlier today, when I was driving, of course. And I said, the Lord's put me in a position that's undesired. I do not want to, be the guy that notices some of these things and has to point them out. And I say, why do you show me these things, God? If you show me Daniel 7 verse 21 and Revelation 13 verse 7 that just says, oh well, they're going to be deceived, even the saints are going to be overcome until the Ancient of Days sits.
Right.
Like, what kind of incentive does that give a person like me to do this? It's not fun. And anytime I do this, there's Wes and Sean, there's some kind of way that they'll be offended, and I'm
so
not trying to
hard.
offend them.
Yeah, it's so very hard not to offend people.
Well, and that's what I want to be clear that I'm not against these guys. I want you guys to subscribe to their channel, and I love these videos. Like, every time they've done this Uncommon Ground episode, or any episode, I think they've done 11 or something, I've watched them, and then while I'm working, I listen to them, like, over and over again, because they do, like, Sean was just ladling some gravy the other one on a previous show about the Hindu, like 4,000-year-old Hindu writings that were talking about Vimanas and flying ships that are flying, things like that. And it's just stuff that I haven't heard before. And he's, explaining what he understands about whatever writings and things. And I'm like, it's awesome stuff. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm like against these guys. I think you should watch this Uncommon Ground. It's very important information, I think, that they're putting out. But I want them to be
I'm glad
careful.
that you brought that up, because I didn't even know about their channel. I mean, I know of a few flat earthers, but you've seen how I research it. I'll type flat earth in the YouTube search, and if they ain't putting out a video that day, I don't know about them.
Yeah, you know what? That could become a thing. I realized that one day when I was watching, just a few days ago, I was watching you do that. That could be a thing that you did. Like, that could be one of the things your channel does, is you go to Google and you search flat earth for an episode or whatever, and you, like you were doing, you were going through all the channels and, no thanks, I don't need that. And then some of them were good, and you'd subscribe, and like, almost like, I think that's another way to spread out the truth, is to put good channels out there, or subscribe to them, or at least make videos about them. You know what I mean?
Give them a chance, listen to them. It's like, oh man, that was scary.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, whoa, that guy was yelling at me.
Yeah.
Because I look at both the flat earth ones and the non-flat earth ones. Yeah, I've done that for a few years. But when I was just exclusively doing flat earth, I was getting no views. None. I mean, like 2 or 3. And so then I started getting into the Bible studies, because to me, the flat earth, I just wasn't being, I mean, I just couldn't get into the niche, I guess. I couldn't get into, I heard a lot of the stuff that they were teaching on this, but I probably wouldn't subscribe, just because, without your telling me about this, I wouldn't even subscribed, just because of a couple things. Like the Patreon. And
Yeah, you know that's one thing that if we go back to a different screen, I was going to point this out. Okay, Ezekiel, I think 12 maybe, whatever. It says a few times in Ezekiel. It says that the house of Israel is a rebellious house, and then they're like there's places where the house of Israel does not listen to the prophets that God sends or the messengers that God sends. They don't listen to them. They kill them. And I do believe that when a mystery is revealed to some people, the rebellious house of Israel refuses it, and that to me is why Daniel 7 verse 21 and Revelation 13:7 read like they do, that the saints were deceived and that the dragon overcame them. But it changes though. It's until the Ancient of Days in Daniel, and it's not deceived like for their soul. And there's a verse in Romans 11 that says they're blinded. The house of Israel's blinded. I can't remember exactly how it says it, but until the number of the Gentiles come in or something. So in my mind, I'm like, it feels like from my point of view that God showed me something that I just have to keep saying it. You know, I have to just
you know
point
what
out.
that's called, right? I know you don't want to accept any mantles or anything, and a lot of people get mad at me for saying this stuff, but that's called prophecy. You know what prophecy is. Do you understand the definition of prophecy before I say that? And somebody says in chat that I'm being blasphemous, but prophecy is speaking the truth.
It's speaking the truth, and often ahead of time.
Yeah,
You know, in
exactly.
Revelation 10 verse 7, it says something about a mystery being revealed to his servants, the prophets. That happens. That's already happened, is what I'm saying.
So you're speaking the truth of the prophets before you, and it's still going to be, look forward to. So
Yeah.
you're more of see, when I say prophecy, prophets have disciples. We're prophets of a disciple. Jesus was a prophet.
Yeah,
So if we're
in addition to being the Son of God.
and the judge.
Yeah, he's the all power or all things in heaven and earth. He's in charge
He's
of.
the king.
Yeah, he's
the king of the kingdom. Jesus is the king of the kingdom, and we're to follow him as our shepherd. He is the only way. He is the only way. I believe that the only unforgivable sin is to deny Jesus as your Savior.
Or to blaspheme the Holy Spirit.
Which would be denying Jesus as your Savior.
Or denying what the Word says, right? Which would be the same thing.
Jesus is the Word.
Yeah, exactly. More than a flame is misunderstanding what you're saying here. He's saying, no, that. Jesus is God, not a prophet. And that he wasn't saying Jesus is a prophet. He was saying, did Jesus tell us that the gospel of the kingdom would be preached unto all nations and then the end would come? There, he's a prophet. He was prophesying. God's a prophet. He prophesies through Isaiah and through Zechariah and through
I didn't mean
Jeremiah.
to open up that can of worms, but I do.
No, I know. I just more than a flame is misunderstanding what you're saying.
I know. I'm hard to understand. Ask Eugene or anyone that knows me for years. I'll continue a thought for a long time. But I really appreciate this, but I do have to go. My son is trying to outlast me staying up. And
okay, well, say hi to your son, and thank you a lot, Tony. We'll talk soon.
Hey, yeah, thank you. God bless you and everyone that listened to. I will pray for a blessing on everyone. Thank you.
All right. Tony's awesome. I enjoy having Tony here. The gospel of the kingdom, more than a flame. You're might be not understanding something. Where did biblical cosmology come from? In your opinion, Joel? Just wondering. Is that something that came from God, or is that something that we just figured out, or what is that? What happened? Because Jesus said that he would send the Spirit of truth to guide us into all truth, and I think that's what happened myself. So let's see here. Let's listen to this song. These guys, it's a pretty good song. It's actually an awesome song. I don't know where it's gonna be. Maybe we'll just try right here. Maybe we'll get lucky.
Don't forget about the Patreon. Check out our PayPal.
Patreon.
He sought to remove us.
It's so much nonsense.
I think it's at the end.
And to have those blinders, remember, y'all want to.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Check this song out, you guys.
Peace.
Don't let me go. I've been traveling down this road. I was looking for truth and I found you, Yahoo, you saved my soul. I got questions, you got answers. Call collecting, you always answer. Off my chest and I got my hands up. Racked up debt, but you paid the ransom. I can never pay it back, but I pray you keep intact. My heart when it started to crack in the dark, it's hard to see where I'm at. But your law, it leads me back. It's a light into my path. And I trust it, I'ma see you when I hear that trumpet blast. When that trumpet blow, we gon' meet at last. You won't let me go, your glory unsurpassed. Can you help me see that you won't let me go? You ain't left me alone, yeah, you won't let me go. Can you help me see that I ain't all alone? Tell me that you're there for me, and you won't let me go. Call me home, you call me home. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. Don't let me go, go, go.
What is man that you care for him, and the son of man that you bear for him? I think about the plans you prepared for him. Upon the wicked you will rain snares for them. The Ophanim and the Seraphim, they praise Elohim with the cherubim. So like them, I'ma get on my knees, I'ma pray God please, I'ma cherish him. Father, forgive me my transgressions, help me speak truth on these jam sessions. I need discernment, grant me discretion, I need your word to give me direction. Don't let me slip, don't let me stray, don't let me fall away. Don't let me falter from your altar, what you call the way. Don't abandon my soul to Hades, light my lamp and don't hold the gravy. Now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Father my soul to keep. And if I die before I wake, then please just don't forget about me. Yeah, I give my heart to you, I know that you know this about me.
Can you help me see that I ain't all alone? Tell me that you're there for me, and you won't let me go. God, don't let me go. I can't figure this out on my own. I just wanna see you when you call me home. You call me home. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. Don't let me go, go, go.
Truthfully, I'm unworthy, and this walk really ain't been easy. And I know I really don't deserve thee, and my wicked ways were so greasy. Could have been dead on a gurney, it's been a journey. Yahuwah near me, never leave me. And my life is proof that he is the truth, and he frees the captives, please believe me. I had knots with the have-nots, sin was a padlock in a bad spot, so needy. Hard knocks like bedrock, twisted like dreadlock, stuck in a deadlock, he freed me freely. I had nothing and he'd feed me, and he gave me something to make me see. He's with me and I'm never alone. Yo, his word on my heart like it's embedded in stone, and I know he's beautiful, his love's unusual. With something so dang pure, I know I'm unsuitable. The way his ruach taught is so immutable, and he the king of my life, that's undisputable.
Can you help me see that I ain't all
that song. Those guys are good. Pretty good. That's enjoyable music. Good stuff too. I like Mike Maranatha singing in there. That's pretty good. More Than a Flame. Where is the 1,000-year millennium or millennial reign? Where does that take place? Does that take place on the earth? Well, I gotta disagree with a lot of that, but that's okay. We could have a conversation about it. There's something in Revelation that I don't understand, and it is the 1,000-year reign. Because I think that the beast that deceived the world and all this, the stuff it talks about in Revelation 20, the beast and the false prophet being in the lake of fire, and then Satan being thrown in, or the dragon or whatever. That, okay, it's a physical reign. Okay. And that's maybe where we differ, because let's see here. If I go to Revelation, I'm probably not gonna do very good here. Revelation 3, when he's talking to the angel, what is it? The angel of the church of Laodicea, I think? Or no, what is it? It is, sorry. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's to Philadelphia. He says, Behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. That temple, let me see here. Okay, the temple of God in Revelation 11, when he's told to measure the temple of God. Whoops. My mouse is, I think the battery's dead. And there was given me a reed like unto a rod, and the angels stood, saying, Rise, and measure the temple of God, and the altar, and them that worship therein. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread under foot 42 months. Where do you think that holy city is? It is in the sky. It's New Jerusalem. And in Revelation 20, I agree with you that that Satan has gathered armies, and I think that we are there. The dragon or whatever. Let's go to Revelation 20 really quick. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. So he had a key to space. Remember Apollo? The missions? Apollo missions? Apollyon. He had a kingdom of darkness. So I can agree with some of these things you're saying, but this is all... I would... but I'm on StreamYard, or yeah, maybe I can here. Let me try something. Desktop. There, I think you can see Revelation 20 there. So, here we go with the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So, this is what I don't understand in Revelation. The 1,000 years that he's bound are when Jesus is the millennial reign, I think, is the same time. But I get confused when I read it. It's like I'm reading it the wrong way or something, because like Revelation 13 and Revelation 12, that's the same battle that is after the 1,000 years. Because the dragon is just like what's happening in the real world today. All those things, Daniel, if we went through the beasts in Daniel, they all ascend up to the sky. And I think it's in Daniel 7 verse 17. These great beasts which are four kings that shall arise out of the earth. Every one of those beasts, the first one was lifted up from the earth. The second one was raised up on one side and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it, and they said to it, arise, devour much flesh. The third one had, Daniel 7 verse 6, it had dominion of the host of heaven. It took it by transgression. And I'm saying that that's the space station. That's to me it's clear because of all the different things that the different places where it's described. Especially in Revelation 17, it's really described in there. But again, that's coming from something, let me go to Revelation 8. I just want to show you guys something that's very interesting to me. John sees something in verse 8, and the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. So I just wanted to point out that John sees a great mountain burning with fire. And I just want to show you 2 places in Enoch where Enoch actually said the exact same words. In Enoch chapter 18, when he sees those 7 planets, or the 7 wandering stars, he called them mountains burning with fire. Let's see here. Right here in verse 13. I saw there, whoops, my mouse is really acting up. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. Now let me show you in chapter 21. He's described the same thing. Okay, right here in verse 3. And there I saw 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it, like great mountains and burning with fire. So what John sees in Revelation 8 being thrown into the sea is one of the planets. And that's one of the reasons why I disagree with Joel and some of his things. Let's see here. But there's things like I have an open mind to learn too. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying like I'm right about everything, you're wrong, or it's not like that. I got respect for anyone studying these things, and whether they come up with a different idea, that's honestly shouldn't come between people. So much respect to you for what you're doing or learning and saying. Although I do disagree with, I can't even articulate exactly how I disagree. So that's something that maybe with time I'll understand more about the book of Revelation. But yeah, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. And a third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life, died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. Oh, let me talk about the gospel of the kingdom. Yes, it is the gospel of the kingdom of God. Flat Earth is. Biblical cosmology. And I'm saying that because in this world that we live in, there was a whole world, every single one of us, believing a lie. And then something happened, and many people all over the world started to realize that they were believing a lie. We didn't realize this before. And this is also prophesied in Isaiah I'm reading what Chris wrote here. That not all they're placed, they're not planets or stars. No, they are. Chris, I'm just talking about the Book of Enoch. He says that he saw 7 stars that didn't obey God. They didn't go on the courses that all the other stars went on. And when we look up the sky, that's exactly what we see. 7 planets, and then we see all the other stars encircling the North Star. Let's see here. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this one. Oops, got the wrong one there. Okay, this one. I made this, and I'm going to let it play for a minute. Hopefully you guys can understand what I'm talking about. Okay, that woman there, that silhouette of that woman, that's, in my mind, that's kind of New Jerusalem, from like Revelation 12, when John saw a wonder of a woman in heaven, and then he saw a dragon, one of a dragon up there waiting to devour her child as soon as it was born. And in this is what is important about truth, is that Jesus and Paul said that there would be a time when the truth would be revealed. Jesus said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free." So that, to me, is him just telling that the truth will be revealed. And Paul talked about the people that would not receive the love of the truth, that they would be damned, and God would send them strong delusion so that they believed a lie. So I think when they went to the moon, but it's all only there because of their wicked hearts wanting to ascend into heaven. And so God, the book of Jasher, chapter 9, it said God, when they sent their arrows and spears, they shot them up at God, just like rockets. But when they shot their arrows and spears up at God, he dropped them back down on the earth covered in blood to cause them to err. He sent them strong delusion so that they would believe a lie. Same thing happening now. So that's my understanding there. But treading New Jerusalem underfoot, who's doing that today? There's another, let me get rid of that and go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I just want to show you guys something in a way that I see it. I'm going to go to Bible Hub. Whoops. So the context of this is for the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. So Joel thinks this is like a long time ago or whatever, more than a flame or whatever. So this, you might not see this the way that I see it, but that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and apostasy, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Where's the temple of God? It's in heaven. So this son of perdition will be exalting himself in heaven, above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. This is exactly what Daniel 7 was talking about when he saw the dominion of the host of heaven being taken by transgression, and then the saints of the Most High. Actually, I'm going to read that verse. I'm going to go there. To Daniel 8. it. Whoops. It's hard to scroll when my mouse is... I think the battery must be almost dead. Okay, so this is interesting stuff. Okay, fourth beast. 3 of the first were plucked. Okay. I beheld, verse 9, I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Doesn't that almost sound like a rocket? Like they're trying to like mimic what God might look like if he was here. Anyway, I think it's just interesting. It was like a fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away. Okay, pay attention to that word dominion. They had their dominion taken away. Yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory, and a kingdom that all people and nations and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all of this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. That's the Falconine Rock, you guys. It does all those things. It has those titanium grid fins that are like huge, and it breaks in pieces, and it stamps the residue with its feet. Think about it. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before 3 fell, even of that horn had eyes, and the mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, in the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came. And judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. We're talking about the heaven, the dominion of heaven. So right now, the time we live in right now, that dominion is still taken by transgression. So the dominion of the host of heaven isn't, the Son of Man doesn't have that eternal dominion right now, right? Because there's space station, there's all this garbage happening up there. But it says here that the Son of Man came, and it was given unto him, and his dominion shall not pass away, it's forever. Okay, and the 10 horns out of his kingdom are 10 kings, so they're not men. Daniel would have said they were men, I think, if they were men. He said they were horns. They looked like horns, visually. And he was told that they're called kings, that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. Okay, the times and laws right there, it's reminding me of Genesis 1, or the 4th day of creation, when he made the sun, moon, and stars for signs, seasons, days, and years. So that's interesting. I think that has something to do with times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. I love that. I love the book of Daniel. But I think what I'm going to do is wind it up. I haven't been able to see the chat here for a minute. Chris Shizpak says, Temple God is in your brain. It's not true at all, but whatever. We're the temple of the Holy Spirit, but the temple of God is in heaven, without doubt. The book of Revelation talks about that. And it comes down from heaven, or out of heaven from God. So, let's see here. Let's see. This is remarkable. I wonder what you're talking about. Okay, Afterworld, I'm confused, man. Are you choosing to just preach at me and avoid us having a Bible study? No, I emailed you like 5 days ago or something. I just got an email from you, I think, today. So I started watching your video, and I made it 36 minutes through the video, and then I got caught up doing some other things, so I paused it. So yeah, I'm not avoiding anything and not preaching at you. I'm just sharing what I believe or whatever. Let's see here. Wow, almost a 3-hour stream. So anyway, go subscribe to, they're in the description of this video. Wes Blaze Jones Music. Let's see here. Do I got, okay. Oh, I am sharing my screen here. Is that right? Oh, this is our video, sorry. Okay, the chat's catching up. Let's see. I get you, More Than a Flame. It's not good to communicate through chat. It doesn't work very well. I agree with you there. Let's see. Yeah, and More Than a Flame, I would have you on, but I'm too tired to start talking about these things right now. I'm just I was just kind of giving some info about where I'm at. Anyway, thank you guys all for coming, and I appreciate every one of you for considering some of these things. And Sean and Wes Blaze, please understand that this is not a video to rip on you in any way. Iron sharpens iron. That's what I heard. So, Davey313, thank you. And Whiteboy5187, More Than a Flame. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate it. Chris Shishpak, if that's how you say that. I can't remember. Thank you guys. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I will probably never use StreamYard again. I'm not a fan. All right. Thank you. And look up. Just like Tony was saying, your redemption draws near.